Thank everyone for attending this press conference. And my name is Cheryl A. Williams. I am with Images Public Relations Firm, and I'm representing the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. And the purpose of this press conference is to announce the National Public Awareness Initiative launched by the IABPFF regarding the Ricci versus Destefano, which is pending before the U.S. Supreme Court. We will also in this press conference announce the organizations that have filed an amicus brief on our behalf. The petitioners in RICI are attempting to undermine the effectiveness and strength of the fire service by ignoring the essential need for diversity in the fire service. This is the order of the speakers. We will have Mr. James Rawlins, who is the president of the New Haven NAACP. Following him will be Mr. Gary Tenney, a New Haven Firebirds Society member of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters. Joseph Muhammad, the international president of the IABPFF. Denny Thompson, who is the lawyer representing the IABPFF, and Mr. John Britton, who is the chief counsel with the NAACP amicus brief and the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, and he will be talking about those who are filing the amicus briefs for us. And there will be no questions for the press after this press conference. Thank you. We'll start now with Mr. Rawlins and so forth.
Good afternoon. What a day. First of all, I'd like to make sure that I acknowledge my brother presidents of branches across Connecticut, Mr. Kelly is here from Bridgeport. I'd also like to acknowledge our state president is here, Mr. Scott X. Exdale. My officers of the local branch, Mr. Vice President Anthony Dawson, and of course our esteemed commissioner, the Reverend Dr. Bosie Kimber. The mission, as we all know, of the NAACP is to ensure political, educational, social, and economic equality of all citizens and to eliminate racial hatred and discrimination. In this, the 100th anniversary of the NAACP, the greatest civil rights organization in the world, again we stand here facing challenges. 100 years to the day, we have fought for freedom across America. 50 years to the date, educational issues, Brown versus Board of Education. Pursuant to that, issues around busing, sit-ins, where we were fighting for our rights. Today we find ourselves, again in the fight, enjoying the International Association of Black Professionals, Firebirds, and especially our local Firebirds, for something as basic as job opportunities, to serve their own communities, within the civil service system. In January of this year, the Great New Haven branch chose once again not to look away at injustice, but to, by unanimous vote and resolution, to again shed the light of justice into the darkness that still resides in pockets of America. Some of our rationale for our action today is our understanding. This case raises legal issues nationally and locally involving both law, policy, and more importantly, morality, where African Americans cannot serve in their own communities to gain employment. The long history and struggles of the NAACP, from the horrific incidents from the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and I might add the 70s, resonates in undermining the social justice and, more importantly, opportunities. The same opportunities afforded the majority population and afforded them yesterday, and they still seek to deny them to us today. In closing, we remain steadfast in our commitment to support the New Haven Black Firefighters, the International Association of Black Firefighters, and the City of New Haven and our enduring battle to promote inclusion, equality in America, and continuing the struggle for parity and fairness.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
As a citizen of this community, New Haven Firebird chapter of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters believe that New Haven has a commitment to be equal and fair to the full picture of diversity in this community. Governments have a responsibility to ensure equal opportunity and freedom from discrimination for everyone. That takes work, and it requires watching how different policies play out on the ground. When a government employer has evidence that a test or other recruiting process is likely to be discriminatory, it has a responsibility to re-examine or abandon that process and find one that's fair and effective. That's what New Haven did in this case. When a government finds about to take on an action that may be discriminatory, it has a duty to re-examine or abandon that action. And that's especially true when there are less discriminatory alternatives that accomplish the same goal. In this case, New Haven took a lawful, common sense approach to the facts it encountered on the ground. New Haven's goal is to select top-notch captains and lieutenants for its fire department through a process that is fair, lawful, and accurate. Based on the evidence, it had available responsibility as an employer and under equal opportunity laws to drop the flawed process and move forward the one that I know is fair and effective. The International Association of Professional Black Firefighters are urging the Supreme Court to do the right thing for the people of this community and for this country. For the right reason. Because it is not just about black, white, or yellow. It's about America. An America that is a place of equal opportunity. Because diversity in firefighting is a matter of national security. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Muhammad, 22-year career firefighter, currently holding the rank of lieutenant. In God's name, I greet you all with the greeting words of peace and paradise. We are here to stand shoulder to shoulder with the city of New Haven on this court case and with the Firebird Society of New Haven. We are here because we believe diversity equals strength, and it is a matter of national security. We are here to stop the March Madness against our civil rights and the attack on Title VII and the Constitution of the United States. We are here to stomp out the fallacy of reverse discrimination. You see, the position of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters can simply be stated by the past director of the Northeast region, Brother Donald Day. Quote, "The Supreme Court hearing this case is the greatest threat to the future of blacks in the fire service and the greatest challenge blacks have ever faced in the fire service. Should and if the High Court reverse this decision, it will have a monumental effect on blacks being firefighters and blacks being officers in their respective cities. Should and if this is allowed to happen, then the cities across this country will not have to justify whether the test is valid, discriminatory, or whether it has a disparate or adverse impact on black firefighters and first responders," unquote. We are here. Making a clarion call to leadership mobilization, thanking the NAACP and the other organizations locally, regionally, nationally, to afford our children the community and opportunity to have equal access to a great profession and career, the fire service and the emergency medical service. We are here because the unique relationship of trust between the fire and all hazard services and the community mandates these services reflect the community served in order to promote security, and safety. We are here.
We are here.
As professionals on the front line of homeland security, whether it is domestic disaster, catastrophe, or crisis, whether it is EMS or DHS, we have a compelling state interest in our national security. We know what some of you are thinking. The past decade has seen the emergence of a seemingly different framework to address social inequality than from the civil rights era. We know what some of you are asking. Aren't these conversations about race and building alliances across racial and ethnic lines toward the goal of achieving social equality being redefined? Well, we ask at the same time, what will be the implications and consequences of the next era of civil rights and the socio-political landscape of our nation? As scholar and attorney Charles Ogletree writes, with all deliberate speed, we need to reflect on the past 50 years for a clearer analysis of today. There is probably someone here today who believes we live in a post-racial and discriminatory society. Then there is probably someone here who believes racism has been on the rise since President Obama's election. See, the denial and the acceptance of this dynamic exists, and it must be overcome. And the necessary dialogue to abolish it must be a mainstay. We believe Attorney General Eric Holder was right. Too many of us have been a nation of cowards, especially regarding race, racism, and law. We also humbly desire to focus on the integral institutional nature of this phenomenon as opposed to the prevailing view that this thing is just a matter of individual behavior. We are here.
We are here.
As emergency first responders and as the preeminent black firefighter organization in America, we offer our perspective. Our intention is to bring national attention to this court case in New Haven. We contend the decision may have a negative ramification and a ripple effect on the future of the fire service in general and the decline of our representation in particular. This case also has the potential to have a greater impact on all other Americans as an attack on Title VII and the constitutional rights. You see, according to the latest data, 2007 of the Department of Labor, in thousands, there are 288,000 firefighters across America. 247 out of the 288 are white. 235 of the 247 are white men. Blacks represent 29,000 and Asians represent 3. Now, of the supervisors, 97,000 supervisors, 76,000 of them are white. 18,000 are black. 55 out of the 55,000 out of the 97,000 supervisors are white men. When we talk about first line managers, lieutenants, captains, 56,000 in America, 51,000 are white. 47 of the 51,000 are white men. You see, these statistics both include paid and career fire departments. However, you can go to www.fire2020.org and you can see the statistics parallel what I just gave also in the metro departments. You see, rescue me if I'm wrong. This professional pendulum goes from hegemony to monopoly and back again. You know what hegemony means, the preponderant influence of authority over others. Proponent means superiority in weight, power, influence, and strength. Superiority, access in the number of quantity and majority. Monopoly means an exclusive ownership through legal privilege, command of supply, or concerted action. In other words, an exclusive possession or control, a commodity controlled by one party. Now, y'all rescue me if I'm wrong. As public safety officials, our job is to manage predictable surprises. I ask the question, is this a surprise or is this a disguise? As you can see for yourself, this empirical data indicates a profession that has been historically and currently predominantly Caucasian and male. Then there is the unmitigated gall to feel as though they are entitled to, i.e., tradition. This is an insult to our intelligence. And some of us may even laugh to keep from crying. You see, this statement or this sentiment has snowballed into a campaign of an increasing influx of, quote, reverse discrimination complaints. They want to sweep us out of existence, the many hiring and promotional consent decrees, settlements, and possibly the entire right of action under Title VII and the U.S. Constitution. I say this is a matter of national security. As you will soon see for yourself, this case currently pending before the Supreme Court is potentially seeking to seriously undermine the blood, sweat, and tears of our civil rights in America, especially in the fire and police departments, particularly at the command level, where many of those who fought so hard to get to the command level will soon be retiring. This is a matter of national security. We are here to remind ourselves that the balance of justice is being manipulated, and we must be persistent as the civil rights movements in the past. They were and we are ordinary people with extraordinary determination and faith. Out of a wretched condition came the concern, the courage, the creativity to organize nationally. We know, as Dr. King used to say, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We are here in hope that the haunting in Connecticut is not just a movie. You see, haunting, you have to be disquieting or harmful effect on trouble. In other words, problems we ignore now will come back to haunt us. We also admire the youth at the University of Connecticut in this March Madness tournament. Yet, if this case is defeated, Connecticut will be known as the Civil Rights March Madness Torment and limiting the career opportunities for our youth. We are here because time is of the essence. Your voice and help are needed now, like way back in the Bible days when Noah told the people that it was going to rain. But what he told them, they paid him no mind, so when he left, they got left behind. It's going to rain, it's going to rain, you better get ready and bear this in mind. God showed Noah the rainbow sign. It won't be water, but what? Fire next time. You see, the fire next time is now. You understand? You can go to our website, www.IABPFF.org, for more information. We are here. Because of all of our studies, history is best qualified and most attractive to reward our research. What has been the past practice? What is considered just cause? Well, the government's responsibility is to protect equal opportunity and ensure freedom from discrimination in public employment for everyone. Keep the fire burning for justice on behalf of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters, and at the pleasure of our executive board, I thank you very much.
Gentlemen, my name is Dennis Thompson. With me at the dais is my wife and partner, Christy Bishop. We represent the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters and have filed this state an amicus brief in the United States Supreme Court. Can this be heard?
Can hear you. Can hear you.
We are relative newcomers.
The mic's out.
Can hear you.
We are relative newcomers to the story of fire. We are attorneys that have represented firefighters all over the country and continue to represent firefighters all over the country in race discrimination cases, specifically in testing. We have been honored over the years to have represented many firefighters of color and count many of the people here on this dais among our friends and our closest allies, whom we've come to know very closely over the years. And standing next to these men and women is almost a feeling of quiet awe. We have learned from these men and women. We have learned many things about fire, but mostly what we have learned is this: We've learned about integrity. We've learned about service. We've learned about loyalty, but mostly we have learned about honor. We have developed an awe of these men and women in this service. They serve us so faithfully. When the tone rings, they respond. And they run toward the things that we run away from. All these firefighters ask is for fairness and for opportunity to develop as human beings and as professionals. Part of their goal serves all of our interests. Many studies have shown, and the military has learned, that the best organizations are diverse organizations. They make better decisions, they have better actions, they respond better in emergencies. And as anyone who has stood here, the fires and the emergencies that this country has become our passion. These firefighters know that. These firefighters live in it every day. While this particular legal case is about firefighters, it is really about us as a people. And it really is about us as a nation. What do we stand for? It is time for us to leave antiquated measures that serve to separate based not on merit, not on ability, but on some obtuse standards that no one really knows what they are, that really do nothing more than exclude than include. The measure of greatness is not who we leave out. The measure of greatness is who we leave in. It is time for us to adhere to the values that are American values, those ideals that we hold so near and so dear. The very values that we send troops into harm's way, and the very values that we send you into harm's way. It's time for us to really talk about merit, and we're talking about true merit, not hollow words that do nothing more than leave people out. It is our hope, it is our belief that this is an opportunity for this court and for this nation to put its words to work. These men and women all know what we all need to know, and that our strength is our diversity, and merit from this day forward must include this reality. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For civil rights under law and a long-time Connecticut resident, having served for 22 years as a law professor at the University of Connecticut and one of the lead counsel in the landmark Sheff versus O'Neill school desegregation case. I am here on behalf of the national, the state conference, and the local branches of the NAACP to lend support and solidarity in filing a friend of the court brief in support of the Firebirds, the firefighters, and the city of New Haven in the case known as Ricci versus destefano. The Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law was formed by former President John F. Kennedy in 1963 to pursue racial justice in America. Joining in this friend of the court brief in support of the firefighters in the city of New Haven are the National Urban League and the Equal Justice Society, along with dozens of other friends of the court briefs, such as the Legal Defense Fund and the American Civil Liberties Union. This case stands for equal opportunity at the workplace and for freedom against discrimination in testing and in promotional examination, to police itself and weed out discriminatory promotion practices. The city of New Haven citizens to eliminate its own biases in examinations and promotions. The city, as other speakers have said, took a very practical approach in declining to use the promotion examination and the listing in this case, and to look at other alternative ways for better and fair examination for promotion to lieutenant and captains on the force. All of the national civil rights organizations are joining in this case in the pursuit of equal employment opportunities and a fair workplace with an opportunity for all officers to reach the highest level of their ability. Therefore, we stand in solidarity with all of those who seek justice and seek truth and seek employment in the fair workplace. This case, called Ricci versus destefano, is one of two major civil rights cases pending in the Supreme Court this term. The other is known as the Northwest Austin Municipal Utilities District versus the government and the Attorney General. Started off as Casey, but ironically now it is Eric Holder. This is the voting rights case for short, challenging the constitutionality of the 2006 Voting Rights Act. These two cases in the Supreme Court will define what the court says at the dawn of the new freedom in the Obama administration and the new Congress. If you are a student of history, you know that African Americans gained their freedom in the late 1800s through the 13th, 14th Amendment and through the Civil Rights Act. However, they lost it in the courts by the end of that century in the 1890s, particularly in a case called Plessy versus Ferguson, and it ushered in an era of Jim Crow segregation for nearly another 100 years to the 1960s with the Civil Rights Movement led by Martin Luther King and many other civil rights volunteers. However, that short-lived gain from the 1960s to the 1970s was greatly limited again by the Supreme Court under an era of Presidents Reagan and Presidents Bush and Supreme Court Justice William Rehnquist. Now, in this dawn of new freedom, which way is the court going to go in defining civil rights for the future? We hope that the civil rights community will stand strong behind this case and the voting rights case, and we further hope that the Supreme Court will issue a decision on behalf of justice. Let justice and let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
Press and everybody who's been involved to get this, because I want the press to also know that we have folks from all over, firefighters from everywhere, here today because it's just that impactful. There will be a rally after this at the Knickerbocker Golf Club on 715 Sherman Parkway following this press conference. And for the press, I have a press kit available. We had a challenge with the printer, but I'm going to give you some of the information from some of the statements so you guys can have that. And I will pass that out momentarily. Again, thank you for coming, and there will be no questions after this conference. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Good. You tell Carol I said hello. I remember her well.
Yes. Cheryl's had a few meetings and worked with the national, so structure and intention and strategy.